Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Michael Timothy Bean here joining us once again live on the show from Berkeley, California. Soul-expression.com, that's his website. And yes, Soul Expression is the name of the company. And we're going to talk to him about all he does as an energy healer, as an empath that can help you live your best life, basically. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you for being here. So for new listeners today, would you mind just establishing a little bit about yourself and what you do? Thank you.
Sure, thank you. I call myself a psycho-spiritual counselor. Excuse me. I offer energy work, energy healing, and talk therapy, and an opportunity for people to drop more into themselves and their own personal wisdom through meditative guidance and various energetic tools that we use in sessions.
Great. Well, we're excited to have you back here to talk about all the work you do and can help us. Had some great conversations last week about the energy healing he does and working with couples, right? You do a lot with that and relationships and EFT. What did you have in mind for us today?
Excuse me. Well, last time we spoke about the process a little bit, and I'd like to continue that.
Sure.
And offer listeners and you a technique that can be used to clear out what I call other people's energy.
That's good.
So if you're interested in learning a tip and participating with me, I think that would be a really fun thing to do.
Absolutely. No problem. Let's bring it on. Go ahead.
So I want to introduce you to this exercise that I call an objective detachment. And it's an opportunity to go into a meditative place, have what's called a spirit-to-spirit greeting with somebody, and then go through a process of detaching your energy from theirs. And it's a good tool to use when a person is feeling maybe disrupted by a previous interaction that they recently had, or perhaps they are, excuse me, I have a truck going by.
That's okay.
Or perhaps they are feeling a little stuck with respect to that previous interaction. And so if you'll indulge me, I'd like to guide you through this and
thank you so much. Absolutely.
Your experience after.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Good. I didn't know if you wanted to do that today. Awesome. Thank you so much. How do we begin?
So let me share with you the way it will go down. This is something that I like to do in session with people, share what we're going to do, what the experience, what the steps are, and then actually do it. And so in this objective detachment, what I'll do is I'll guide you through a very brief getting present meditation. And then I'll have you do what I call a spirit-to-spirit greeting with somebody. And you don't have to tell us who it is. You can just bring them forward. And the idea of a spirit-to-spirit greeting is to close your eyes, imagine them, and welcome them.
Okay, great.
Okay. And then from there, you're going to say one objective fact about yourself and one objective fact that's similar about the other person. So for example, you would say something like, I am a woman, you are whatever your gender is, whatever the gender is of the other person. Or I am how old and you are this old. I am this tall, you are that tall. All right. So I'll guide you through just so you don't have to remember all of that.
Okay. And I can bring up whoever I want.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And then we'll guide you through
dead or alive.
Whatever.
Okay. Just making sure.
Doesn't matter. Let's make it somebody alive though, because if you see them again, there'll be an interesting difference between the way you have them in your mind now and after.
Good.
So, let's make it a person who is living and who you might see.
Right.
So let's just do it. I'll guide you through the process and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
And if you're out there listening and you want to do this too with us, by all means. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically related to Jill, but you can do it for yourself as well as we do this together.
Okay.
All right. So Jill, just close your eyes, if you will, and then take a deep breath. And then as you exhale, slowly feel yourself being held by Mother Earth and the force of gravity in your chair, and allow yourself to just relax into your chair. And allow the surrounding noises that you haven't heard yet today in that space to suddenly become apparent. It's an indication of your present time-ness. The way that your immediate environment begins to speak to you as you get closer to being totally centered and present. And with another breath and a relaxing release, invite with a spirit-to-spirit greeting a person of your choice with whom you would like to do an objective detachment. Put them right outside of your personal space, however you define that, and place them on a pedestal, perhaps surround them with flowers, adorn them with beautiful things, and welcome them with a spirit-to-spirit greeting. A hi, hello, how are you? Thank you for being here. All in your mind. And with your voice, saying it out loud, say an objective fact about yourself, like your gender.
I'm a female.
And then using the word you are, do the same for that person with whom you're doing that spirit to spirit.
I'm a female. You are a female too.
Great. I am X years old.
I'm 44 years old.
You are?
Probably 42 years old.
So say the word, you are 40. I am 44. You are 40.
I'm 44 years old. You are about 42 years old.
Okay. I'm wearing a black.
I'm wearing a black sweater.
And you
are wearing probably a black blazer.
All right, good. And two more. How tall are you?
I am 5'6" tall. You are 5'4" tall.
Great. And now last one. I drive a
2012 Ford Focus. You drive I don't know what you drive. I think you drive a nice SUV. I don't know what it is though. Specifically.
Good. Very good. Now settle into that, take a deep breath and relax with all those similarities or all those differences within those similarities. And with a rolling back of your shoulders and an opening of your heart, and you can even reach out your hand, say the words, I gift you back your energy.
I gift you back your energy.
And with a nice exhale, feel it leave your body and see it, feel it, sense it, know it, returning back to the person. And when you feel the sensations end, let me know.
On.
And now with that opening of the heart again, say the words, and I reclaim my own.
And I reclaim my own.
That's right. And you can even reach out and pull it towards you, bring it into your body, sweep it with your hands, and feel it return.
Okay.
And when you're done, let me know.
Good. I got it back. I'm good.
All right. Now come on back. Open your eyes. And we'll end it with a quick spirit-to-spirit thank you, goodbye. And you can use the metaphor of a river flowing in front of you, where you just reach out, spirit, and bring the person down into the river and ask them to take a swim and watch them go
friends
away.
Again, or do we push away?
This is just this is a separation of energies. It's not a change in the relationship or anything like that. So it's always just a way to become more center. Okay. So the idea of dropping somebody or escorting them into the river is an invitation for them to be cleansed and to go on their own journey until we meet again. Right? Okay. That's the whole idea of the metaphor. So just let's talk about your experience. How was that for you? And what were the feeling states you felt, the feelings that you had as you were going through it? What were the sensations you experienced?
Well, when I thought in my head about the person, there was lots of negativity there. And that has been between us for so many years, which I don't know why, but it's always been, and it's affected us and our relationship. Hence, we don't have much of a relationship anymore. But I felt hard. Thinking about that person doesn't make me feel good. Yeah, it puts this, I don't know, this bad energy in me, and I feel my stomach. I don't feel right when I think about her, talk about her. When I used to speak to her, there's just something I always felt like. We're on two different planes. Maybe in past lives, we were like enemies fighting in a war, something. And I don't know why, because nothing in the present state that ever did anything. I never did anything bad to her. She never did anything bad to me, but there's just this weird black, like dark energy around her. And excuse me, it's just always there. And I see through the good, even when it's not good, but she's acting good. So I felt gross. I didn't like like it. And then the whole point of, now pushing this like sparkly energy away, putting hers back, giving it back to me, that felt good. I thought it was like Disney princess, like,
Nice.
let it snow, Elsa, like that's what I was like pushing back at her, like the
Beautiful.
snowflakes and stuff. And then going to the river, I was a little confused, like, oh, am I drowning her? No, I'm letting
Yeah.
her go. Okay, yeah, I'm not that
Yeah,
mean.
it's
But I
a
would love to I just wish our spirits could connect better and understand each other and be real friends, because life is so short. It doesn't, some people don't get along. And I feel like it's because like a past energy thing. And I
yeah,
wish we could break that and we could be friends.
right.
And,
So you can consider an exercise like this as a first step toward that kind of a thing. The idea
okay.
is to, like we were talking about before, symbolically work with the energy and the feelings that we have with other people, their energy, and seeing it in such a way that is something that sticks to us. And so you mentioned
Mhm.
those feelings that you had when you think about her. You could call that other people's energy. You could call that what you've taken on from her and your experiences. And as I guided you through that separation, we created a field of difference
Mhm.
within the similarities,
Yeah,
right? So you're kind of close
absolutely.
with respect to the similarities, but yet there's a difference. And as you say, each one, there's this experience of, when I've done this for myself, of separation, right? And when you actually say the words using your voice is, the words that you speak are kind of like magic, right?
Yeah.
You can speak something into existence. And so when you gift somebody back their energy, there is something that happens. There is a letting go, a gifting that occurs. And then when you reclaim your own, that's your action taking and bringing yourself back to you from what you've given to that other person. And it can be a surprisingly effective way to get clear and to get
Okay.
free of something that's stuck in your mind about that person. So when you were giving back the energy, you mentioned that you had this
Smiley,
sense of
sparkly feel,
sparklies.
like
Yeah,
frozen, like that, like a
right.
nice, give it back, take it back. And mine's sparkly too. Just take it. Let's all be sparkly together.
So did you notice any body sensations when you were receiving your own back?
I relaxed a lot more. I think my back went down a little. Felt
Nice.
like breathing out. Yeah, a little more hunched over, but yeah.
Cool.
Calmer, calmer.
So the other thing I'd like to add about this is that when you think about another person, you're actually inviting them spirit to spirit in a way and giving their energy permission to be present with you. And sometimes those people will feel it and know it and sense it, right? Especially when you do an exercise like this, when you're actually giving back somebody's energy, and they might not be accustomed to holding on to that for themselves anymore, and they're giving it back, and then suddenly they're thinking, oh, what's up with Jill?
Yeah,
Right? And I wouldn't be surprised if this person reaches out, or you come across them in some way in the near future that's unexpected,
yeah.
and that there's a different way of being with that person when you do see them
I
again.
hope so.
It's
I hope
great.
so. I think it
It's
should be that. It should be that way. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's a great exercise to clear the air for yourself and give you a break of anything that you might have been stewing over with that particular person. And it's
yeah,
something that you can do energetically, not just with another person, but with a place,
yeah,
right? You can, or a computer, or a phone, or a preemptive thing. When going into a meeting, you can objectively detach from any expectations or stress that you might have,
hmm,
and create like an individual that represents those stressors and gift that person back the energy, a version of
yeah,
you perhaps, and then reclaiming your own from that individual who has been stressed,
yeah,
and or whatever. And so yeah, there's this great, it's all about metaphor, and you can do it for yourself. It's great guided, and that's just one tool that I typically use with people to start a session with them so that they can be more present with me here, or help them get through whatever they've been stewing over with respect to
hmm,
that person, so they can be clearer for other work.
hmm.
So that's one example of a tool that we can use, this objective detachment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Subjective detachment. All right. So I'm going to let you know next week. Well, maybe the week after because it's Thanksgiving, but how that works out, yeah,
Cool.
it's that
Yeah,
whole sense of karma and cycle. And I believe,
yeah,
why
that's
not?
the key thing. It's the belief is also very important too, right? So I think about hypnosis. I've taken some hypnosis training, and the whole thing about hypnosis is that, and energy work, the level of belief is really important. If you're coming into it
Hmm.
with skepticism
Yeah.
and a disbelief,
Yeah.
and a seeking of proof, so to speak,
Hmm.
putting all that ahead of your own felt experience, you might not have an experience that's as rich as somebody who is higher in a level of belief and is open to the experience, right?
True. All right.
So that's energy that can get in the way of energy work. And
Ah,
until
interesting.
somebody has a an impactful experience, it usually
Mm-hmm.
takes a while for them to come to terms with it because it's all subtle. It's very subtle work.
Yeah. All right.
Excuse me again.
Thank you. So what other types of things do you do to help relieve this type of energy or bring in more positive energy?
Yeah, well,
Can you attract it then too from someone as well?
oh, absolutely. So if you consider, say, your dwelling having the same kind of parts as a human, right? You can do an energy clearing for a particular space,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or you can use what's called an energy stream called supreme being energy, and it has a color to it. And the color is gold with some pearlescence associated with it. And you
Okay.
can consider this supreme being energy the energy flow of magical expression or magical creation in the world, right? And so you can run this rose gold, or not rose gold, this pearlescent gold color with an intention.
Okay.
So a teacher of mine once shared, he liked to run supreme being energy, surround his car with a bubble of it, and put an intention on it while he was speeding down the freeway of any police officers seeing him, racing down the highway. All of a sudden, the supreme being energy spell around his bubble car, would encourage them to have a burrito, right?
Uh-huh.
Instead of pulling him over for speeding. And so,
Mm-hmm.
that's one creative example of how you can use it. Or you can intend for all of the traffic, and finding a parking spot is a classic example, right? Running some
Yep.
supreme being energy to help you find a parking spot, you release yourself of the wish or the desire, and then all of a sudden magically appears, right?
Yeah.
So that's typical way you can use an energy stream, right, to help enhance your intention to create whatever situation that you want for yourself in the world. Or you can do some kind of metaphorical waterfalls, or use imagery that signifies cleansing, like the river. Coming back to the idea of going into a meeting, right, that could be stressful.
Mm-hmm.
You could bless the space after grounding yourself and doing an objective detachment from the people in the meeting by themselves before, and you can put an intention in the space to be conducive for learning,
Okay.
right? And surround it with some color, put a waterfall over the door, a magical waterfall with your intentions and your thoughts from that grounded space, and bless the waterfall and have it be something that, say, promotes positivity and collaboration and learning for all the people who walk through, those kinds of things, and settle into that vibe for yourself and radiate it outward too. And so these are all examples of how I use this stuff for myself, in just creating the spaces that are around me, and projecting a vibe out there that I want to be
That's
in.
all right.
And I often find that people respond in a similar way.
Oh,
Right? We,
wonderful.
we we attract each other in terms of our vibrations, and if we set something out there with intention and live it,
Mm-hmm.
people kind of drop into it. Our experience of them is now in alignment with that vibe we're putting out ourselves.
Yeah.
So you can use your mind and your own creative forces, your own creative imagery to create scenes, to affect change in the world, to bless a space, to clear out, the feelings that you have that are stuck inside of you. And you can even bring in help.
Yeah.
This spirit to spirit greeting thing, you can actually drop into a meditation and ask, who is my spirit guide?
Yeah.
And from that spirit to spirit welcoming place, see who shows up. When
I
I
get
first,
confused. How many spirit guides do we have? And do they
oh,
change all the time, or are they like,
well, I like to say that you can create a spirit guide for yourself and invite them, right? So say, for example, you have a certain challenging thing. You can invite a spirit guide to come and help you and appear as they appear. I had a spirit guide appear to me as Russell Crowe in the movie Gladiator, right? And when I
uh-huh.
first was introduced to a spirit guide, it came to me in the form of Snoop Dogg, of all people. Right?
Yeah.
And so Snoop is my spirit guide. Sounds crazy, but he's been a good friend in that spirit guide role. And you can actually send your spirit guide out on missions for you, right? So go pave
Yeah.
the way for me in this journey that I'm about to go through. So a lot of things you can do internally with respect to the imagery. It's all about um, accepting your own creative process,
Mm-hmm.
allowing what you're asking for to appear however it will, and then interacting with it in a way that is conducive to what you want in the world. And
Yeah.
so that's the use of energy for oneself, in action. And then I guide people through this process for themselves to get them clear of other people's energy mostly, and to give them some of these tools they can use for themselves for better self-regulation, for better self-awareness, and for a calmer presence in the world,
Mm.
right? Not being so pulled by the various triggers that the situations bring, right?
Triggers that be,
It,
yes.
it gives you this work gives you, again, I come back to this, doing something for yourself that you can't necessarily do out in the real world, but you can do work internally to symbolically clear out your plate and get yourself to a place where you can be more present in your life situations. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. All right. Thank you. By
It's
the way,
fun
we got to
stuff.
remind everyone who we're talking to. Can you share your website, phone number,
Yeah,
all the above?
Michael Timothy Bean, soul-expression.com, and my telephone number 510-606-8118. And you can also visit my website, soulexpression.com, with that dash in the middle of the soul and the expression, and use the little chat help feature to send me a message, introduce yourself, give me your email address, ask a question, book a
All right.
session, that
Thank you
kind of
so much. All right, let's
thing.
continue our discussion. Did you want to talk more about that type of work, or do you want to do another type of energy healing? There's so much to you because I mean, when I met you
Yeah.
last week, I mean, besides playing that, and you work with couples, you do relationship things. You also can speak to the other side, right? You've got like this ability as an empath to kind of connect
I
to.
have had conversations. Yeah. Okay. Let me tell a story about a house clearing that I did.
Great.
So my hometown is Cape May, New Jersey, and Cape May,
It
New Jersey.
is. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it
so
is.
ironic. I spoke to someone before on the podcast who's from she has a company, an interior design company, Cherry Wood Design, her and her husband. And they bought a house in what's next? They have one in Cape May, they're using it for a rental house, and then they have one in what's the park called? Where the kids go? It's really close by. What, not Willow Park, Willow
Okay.
Beach, Willowbrook. What is it? Anyway, she has a house in
I
Cape
don't
May
know.
that I
Well,
was
that's
looking at before, and I was looking at. I'm like, oh my god, you rent this house out? Like she furnished it herself from the 1800s, and she rents it out, like not on like VRBO, but her own company. But what is the name? I'm trying to think of the name of it. Oh my god,
gosh.
it's New Jersey. It's not Willow Bend.
Well, the surrounding,
Wildwood.
yeah,
Wildwood.
surrounding
She has
cities
a
are
house in
Wildwood.
Wildwood, and then Cape May. So it's just weird
Right.
how things come up in the same day.
Right.
Karma. Go
It's a
ahead. Go ahead. Go
great
ahead.
place. Love South Jersey. Um, yeah, so I visit there every summer. I visit family and friends. And a couple of years ago, I was visiting Cape May and worked with a woman who had ghosts in her house.
Oh my
And
gosh.
the ghosts were, speaking through the Alexa, and freaking out the kids, right? And so through a friend, I, met this person. I did a clearing session with her in her house and did an energy healing session with her, taught her about how to drop into what's called a meditation sanctuary, a room in your head where you can just create a scene and control and use the dials that you can create to monitor yourself and objectively detach from your world as things are going through. Anyway, we did this whole energy healing where got her centered and present, and invited the spirits to come. And I saw the way I see it. I didn't necessarily see forms or excuse me, bodies or visual representations of the spirits, but I could sense their presence, and I could sense that there's an elder man and an elder woman sitting on a couch, and a younger kid sitting, or a younger one, in the middle. And they were there. They were skeptical. They were going, "What the heck? What's going on here?" And I, kind of brokered a conversation between the two. And what I got was that the spirits in this particular house who were haunting the kids and disrupting the space were ancestors of the husband, related.
Wow.
And what came to me was that they had a spirit deal that they weren't going to pass on until everybody in their spirit posse in that particular family, in that particular space, all passed on, or they were all gone. They'd all died, right? And so they weren't going to pass on until they were all together in the ethereal, in the ghost realm, if you will. And then once as a group, they would pass on back to the light, right? And so that's what I got. And they didn't, and I shared that with the client. who was surprised, right? But happy to hear that they were relatives. And, I encouraged them to have a conversation at dinner where they decided to keep them around and invite them to stay. Or the choice was keep them around and invite them to stay, or invite me back and I could do a clearing that shows them the path, right? That opens the portal and shows them a way to go become back to the oneness again. And they decided they wanted to keep them around. Right. And so they went through and I encouraged them to do a family ritual where they invited them to come and sit down. They recognized, they communicated with each other. They put a place for them at the table and they welcomed them back into the family formally.
Wow.
And disruptions, and it felt good. It was a family choice. Together they said that you can stay. We love you. And the interactions, the physical disruptions, it all stopped.
Yeah.
It all stopped from their welcoming them back into the family.
Oh my God.
So that's part of the kind of work that I do. I call it communicating with ethereal intelligence. I don't like to say ghosts or goblins or any kind of negative connotation. An ethereal intelligence, it honors that energy for what it is, an intelligent energy, and you can communicate with it, and you can claim your space. Here in our 3D worlds, we are the ones who own our 3D bodies and our 3D space, right? We rule this realm. And so spirits can only affect you if you have some kind of permission, give them some kind of permission, like keeping them in your head or naming them or something like that. It's all form of permission.
Okay.
And they have to do your bidding.
Wow.
So if you say you will go, be gone. If you feel like you're haunted or possessed, for example, you can have that spirit greeting, recognize them and tell them to be gone. And if you say it with oomph and confidence, you can reclaim your space and they'll go.
Wow.
So
Get
it's
rid of
something,
those, what do we call them? Entities? Bad.
entities, possessions. Yeah, entities is a good one. Again, I like to use the word ethereal intelligence.
Ooh, that sounds so intelligent. Say it again.
Ethereal intelligence.
Ethereal intelligence. I like that. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's kind of the extreme side of the energy work. I kind of go back and forth with respect to my understanding of ethereal intelligence as discrete packets of energy that are conscious, right? Or is it me creating something that I can control, have a conversation with, and get through it, and have the feeling of like I've done something.
Yeah.
Like I've taken some command over my situation.
Wow.
And so I go back and forth between those two points of view. Sometimes it's fun to entertain the idea that I'm actually speaking with an intelligent thing, but other times I'm thinking, okay, this is me in action, just using my creative skills and powers to affect some kind of change that I have control over in my own limited way, right?
Wow.
And so it really doesn't matter how you look at it. It's what's important is that you use your creative powers to create your spiritual world, right? A teacher of mine once said, creativity is spirituality.
Yeah.
And as you drop into that spot of being open and grounded and present, the creative imagery, the creative inspirations, they come. Yes. They just drop out of the sky and come. And if you're there and you're present and you're tapped into them as those inspirations come, you can affect change in your world. You can create magic. You can create something beautiful. You can create a piece of art.
We want.
You can create a great relationship. You can do all of that.
Which we'll get into again next time. By the way, we're out of time. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Michael, how do we reach you again?
510-606-8118.
Beautiful.
Michael at soul-expression.com and soul-expression.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And thank you. And I'm going to talk to you in probably 2 weeks. And I'm going to let you know when that person reaches out. You never know. All right. Have a great day.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.